You are listening to the On the Blueline podcast, covering the National Hockey League and more hockey news. Here are your hosts now, Phil Bernardi and Chad Van Duersen. Hello, folks, and welcome to On the Blueline podcast. I'm Phil Bernardi, and my host Chad Van Duersen couldn't make it today, but man, we're going to bring you Phil's playoff party, because we are about halfway through the first round, and man, there's been some wild hockey action this 2017 NHL playoffs so far. Right now, the Blackhawks are down 0-2 to the Nashville Predators. Pekka Rinne, the goaltender for the Nashville Predators, has shut out the Blackhawks in 2 straight games and also recorded 2 assists in Game 2 to have more points than the entire Blackhawk roster. I mean, Joe Quenneville has to be steaming. I can see them coming out tonight. Today is April 17th, 2017, and tonight the Blackhawks are, they're in Nashville. Nashville did their job and came out, you got to win one on the road when you're the road team to start the playoffs. And they came away and won 2, so they're in great shape. Just like the St. Louis Blues. They are 3-0 on the Minnesota Wild. They took 2 at Minnesota last night. They beat the Wild, yesterday afternoon. And I got to say, Devin Dubnyk let off a couple easy ones. Bruce Boudreau, the coach of the Wild, he looked completely defeated during the press conference. He just, he's done as much as he could. And sometimes, your players just got to take over themselves. And the Blues seem that they've been clicking. There has been much ballyhoo about Marty Brodeur helping Jake Allen as the goalie coach. And I can see it with the puck handling. I don't know about staying square to the shooter. Maybe he's also helped him with that, but definitely about playing the puck because the St. Louis Blues now come out of the zone faster than they ever have. And that's kind of scary. They have speed and they have hands. Next, we're going to go to Edmonton and San Jose. Last night, San Jose, still couldn't solve Cam Talbot, the goaltender for Edmonton. He has 2 straight shutouts since the OT loss in Game 1 up in Edmonton. And the Sharks did their job. They won 1 up in Edmonton. They lost the second game, and then they lost Game 3 in their own home building to open out the home. So now they got to definitely win Game 4 because Edmonton's up 2-1 in the series. I love Edmonton. I love their chances. I mean, look at Zach Kassian and those big mutton chops missing a tooth. He looks like a true beauty out there, as Don Cherry would say, excuse me. And then our final series in the Western Conference is the Flames and the Ducks. The Ducks have been pretty impressive so far. I got to say, Brian Elliott, he can get really hot at times, and then he can get really slow. Really cold. And it's concerning for Flames fans, his on-off play. And it hasn't been good this series because, the Ducks are already up 2-0, and now they're going up to the Saddledome up in Calgary, up in Alberta, so it should be interesting. Now, to get to the Eastern Conference playoffs in the first round. Well, Pittsburgh was down 3-1 yesterday to the Blue Jackets and ended up winning 5-4 in overtime thanks to Jake Gensel's hat-trick goal in overtime. I mean, what a job for a rookie. That's how you come through in the playoffs for your team, I tell you what. Then we also had the Canadiens and Rangers, and this was taking place in Madison Square Garden. Montreal now leads 2-1 after winning 3-1 yesterday. I mean, Alexander Radulov had a highlight reel goal. He had a guy draped on his back. I mean, it looked like a gorilla hanging off of him. And he just one-handed the puck all the way down the ice and passed Lundqvist for the goal. And Lundqvist just had this look of like, what the F just happened? Did I really just see that? Was I a part of that? Where's my jock strap? Is it over there in row 12? I mean, it was a beauty. Then we also had Kevin Klein knocking Torrey Mitchell of the Montreal Canadiens into the New York Rangers bench, and that's going to be a highlight reel for the whole playoffs. I mean, he came in, lined him up, hit him legally, hit him in the hip and the shoulder area, and just launched him over the boards. A couple other series left in the Eastern Conference. The Senators and Bruins. This is tied at 1-1. They play tonight down in Boston. And I I gotta say, Ottawa, has had some strong play from Craig Anderson, and they just haven't been able to find the back of the net. When you have good defense like, Chara, McQuaid, McAvoy, who's been leading ice time for the Bruins on defense, is a rookie. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to play this year because he was with Boston University. He's been playing really awesome. I got to say, it's good. This series is nice, and I guess it can be boring, but it's nice to see that it's nice and even. Some parity, finally. And then our last series in the first round, the Capitals and Maple Leafs. Now we're going up to the Air Canada Center up in Toronto. We got the Capitals. They won the first game, and then the Maple Leafs won a stunning double overtime game in Washington in Game 2. Kasperi Kapanen, son of Sammy Kapanen, with the game winner. Now that is what the playoffs are all about, the double overtime, just the excitement of the sudden death. It is beyond comprehension sometimes. Now let's get to some sponsorship reads. We'd like to welcome a sponsor from the state of hockey. The state of hockey is Minnesota due to numerous amateur and collegiate hockey teams as well as the Minnesota Wild. Well, my sponsor can't be happy with the Wild going down 3-0. I'm sorry, fella, but that's somehow how the NHL will go. We're also sponsored by JedCastRadio.com, WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, WJOB 1230 AM, WJOB1230.com. You can also find us on any of those platforms, as well as our YouTube channel, our Facebook, which is on the Blue Line, and our Twitter account at Blueline Podcast. We love being on the internet, with the radio. We're working on a few other things here with media and our media department, and we'll help getting some more coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I just gotta say, some of these teams out there, they've stepped up their play. Some teams look like they're struggling, like San Jose. Edmonton, they're just playing hockey. They're young kids. It's their first time in the playoffs in 10 years. None of these kids have ever been on the roster before, not even the vets. So it's good to see that, a team is just having fun. Same with the Maple Leafs. They're the Eastern Conference version of the Oilers. They're just having fun. They have a good netminder in back, but I can't tap it a little bit more in Edmonton. Excuse me. And I just got to say, the Hawks just got to pick it up. I mean, Nashville's just been playing them very, very meticulously. Not a lot of deviation in how they defend the neutral zone. And it's been hard for the Blackhawks to do their typical power play entrance where they clog up the blue line with four guys, and usually Duncan Keith's a guy that'll come in. I've seen Seabrook do it too, but they'll have a defenseman come in, zoom through with the puck because everyone's concentrated on maybe, he's going to pass it to this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Nope, he's just coming straight into the zone. And a big play that a lot of teams do in the playoffs is the dump and chase, because you want to dump it, you want to make the defenseman go back, get it, and you just nail him right into the boards. You just jaw the puck loose. The second forward checker coming into the zone gets it, sets up your team. You can wheel it around the dot and on the boards. They just are able to cycle the puck better when you're able to get the first puck. When you are able to get the puck, off the dump and chase. Man, there's nothing been really wrong with Corey Crawford. It's just been he's had no help. I mean, Pecorino has been phenomenal. He's had a save where he lifted his leg up off the ice and hit it with his knee, and if he didn't, it would have gone in. I mean, the man has just been standing on his head. And to have 2 assists in Game 2, I don't think I've seen another goalie have more than multiple assists in the playoffs in maybe a couple years. At least 5. It's been decent. I also got to say, on the Blue Line, we love hockey. We apologize for a couple weeks off. We've had some personal issues to deal with. But now we're back on track. And, this playoff session, it's been more exciting than last year so far in the first round. There's been a lot of good storylines, a lot of good teams, especially the fact that we have 5 Canadian teams now in this playoffs compared to last year where there was 0. I love this because there's 7 teams. 5 of them are in the playoffs. 7 from Canada, 5 in the playoffs. It'd be nice to actually see someone from Canada win the cup. They haven't won it since 1993 when my idol, Patrick Wall, led the Montreal Canadiens. Now it's cool seeing Ottawa and Montreal and Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton. I mean, too bad we couldn't get Vancouver. Well, yeah, I guess Vancouver. We'll let them slide. And then it would have been nice to see Winnipeg. I love the Peg. Up at the MTS Center. They really have the smallest rink in the NHL. But to get back to the Blackhawks and their playoffs, they haven't been doing a great job controlling the play consistently. One thing that they like to do is what they know, and they don't want to show you what they're doing unless they know that it's going to work. They did pretty good in the second game, but they had a couple follies. The defense wasn't too bad. I have a note here from my partner, Chad Van Dersen. The Preds had an offensive advantage with their north-south game, which sure enough they did. And on defense, they were great in shot blocks. Much credit to winning face-off, blocking shots, and Pecorine. Yeah, blocking shots in the playoffs is a must. As a forward, you have to help your DE out with that. As a goalie, I love to see the puck, but if you can 100% block it, I'll let you do it. I like it. I got to agree with his assessment with the Blackhawks. They're not liking to do what they do unless it really works. But you just got to try anything, and you got to get a puck on the net. You got to get a puck in the zone. You got to get through the blue line. You got to get shots on net. That's all you got to do in the playoffs. Because a lucky bounce could go in. Look at Devin Dubnyk yesterday afternoon against the St. Louis Blues. It was just a little harmful wrist shot, and it just goes right over his glove like he couldn't catch it. Like he was farsighted or something. Or, nearsighted. It was very concerning as a goalie. But if the Hawks should make it out of the first round, they got to at least start winning this next one. They got to win Game 3. They got to win Game 3 tonight. Tonight's game, April 17th. You can find it on CNBC. It's probably going to be on Comcast Sportsnet Chicago for all us local fellas. It's 8:30 Central Time down in Nashville. It is going to be rocking down in Smashville, which is what they call Nashville for hockey. Kind of a clever name, but regardless, the Hawks are up against them. And they're starting to be up against the wall. Nobody likes going down 0-3. There's only 4 teams in sports history, 2 of them being hockey teams, that have come back from 0-4. 0-3, 0-4 would have you swept. So it's going to be pretty hard for the Hawks to beat Nashville in the series if they don't get Game 3. Now, Crawford's been playing awesome. Rene's been playing awesome. But the thing is, you got to get the shot to the net. You can't worry about making a little pretty pass in the zone like Kane and Panarin, doing their little dipsy-doos and whatever. This is all playoff hockey. It's grinding, getting to the net. The toughest team's going to win it. It's not a race. It's not a race to the finish. Whoever wins the cup has basically won a marathon. Maybe even a triathlon. We'll go with that. The team that wins has played 6-7 weeks, straight playoff hockey grinding. Zach Werenski of the Blue Jackets took a puck off the face yesterday, so he's been grinding. He even came out and got a goal. What a kid. The Hawks, though, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it done. They're gonna win Game 3. I'm already gonna predict it. It's gonna be a scary one here on April 17th. Well, folks, this is all I have for today. We're gonna come back with another Phil's playoff party in a couple days. It's awesome being able to update our listeners and anyone that follows us about how the playoffs have been shaping up so far. It's always exciting. And if you're not a hockey fan, please tune in to NBCSN or NBC or CNBC. Sometimes the games are on USA Network, but please tune in. This is the most exciting time of year for hockey, and this is really what hockey is all about. I mean, the hits, the great goaltending. They're going for a trophy that's over 100 years old. The Stanley Cup. They're going for the greatest trophy in the world. It's awesome to see these guys clawing their way to the finals. So we'll be with you every step of the way. Tonight we have the Blackhawks and Predators down in Nashville at 8:30 Central PM time. It is going to be a great one. The Hawks are going to win Game 3. Crawford's going to be playing great. I think he's only let up 1 or 2. If he lets up 3, it's going to be it's definitely going to be a battle. I can see it going to overtime. I can see Nashville, forcing overtime. But if Nashville wins, the better team has been playing better. That's all that you got to say. And sometimes the crowd does play a factor, but usually the guys on the ice, that's the factor. The guys on the ice. All right. Well, thank you again, folks. I'm Phil Bernardi. My partner, Chad Van Dersen, would like to say thanks for listening to us if he was here. Thanks very much, Chad. I'll see you next time, fellas. And please tune in to jedcastradio.com, WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, and WJOB1230.com. We are all over Northwest Indiana right now. We're also on YouTube, Facebook, both at On the Blueline, and then we got a Twitter account at Blueline Podcast. Thank you very much, fellas and gals, for tuning in to the On the Blueline Podcast with Phil and Chad. And in Phil's playoff party, we always are having a great time. Thanks again, folks. Tune in next time.